Well, YouTubers, today was my first day at work after my holidays. Started out so that I had to come again in the evening because a colleague of mine is sick, so I had to do a double shift. And now I'm just hanging out here with my clay churchwarden filled with Colt's cherry. Not bad, not bad. It's a very, very affordable tobacco, and yeah, I like the taste. It's a mild cherry tobacco. Drinking some wonderful sherry that I got as a present from my sister. Taste of with great sweetness and a nutty taste in it. It's wonderful. It's absolutely great. And I've decided to follow up a little bit on what I said in my last video. As I told you, I had a depression some 14 years ago. It was the year that my youngest daughter was born. And it was the year that my beloved grandmother died. And it was a year where I had a lot of stress at work. And yeah, it was a reaction to all these circumstances that I became depressed. I had a predisposition to this, which I surely got from my family. But in this year it all was a lot of bad things came together, a lot of difficult things came together. My third child was a great gift, but it also meant a lot of responsibility, and yeah, at the moment it was just too much. I hadn't learned how to cope with stress, but I had learned that in order to be loved, in order to be accepted, I had to be good. I had to be successful. I had to do the things that were expected of me. Nobody told me that it was that way, but somehow that's what I picked up. And of course, I didn't always reach my goals. I didn't always fulfill what I believe was expected of me. Nobody does that all the time. And so I started to dig myself a hole in which it was dark and silent, where I was alone and nobody wanted anything from me. A lot of anger that I had, but I swallowed it down and tried to keep a cool and equanimous image for people around me. I tried not to explode with anger. And so I swallowed everything down. I swallowed my anger at the circumstances, I swallowed my anger at other people, and I swallowed the anger that I had for myself. This last thing is, I think, is rather typical of people who have depressions. In the end, it became that bad that my wife told me to go to the doctor. I went to the doctor and I didn't go to work for, I think, about 2 months or so. I started taking medicine and I also started therapy. There were a lot of good impulses in this therapy. I had group therapy and I had single therapy, and the tipping point in the story of my depression came a little later, at the beginning of the next year, when I went to a weekend retreat in the north of Germany, where it was all about going into silence and spending time in silence with God. And it was there that I realized that not only in regards to the people around me, but also in regards to my God, I had this impression that I had to be good to be loved, that I had to be successful, that I had to do the right things to be accepted. And I had an overwhelming experience of love and the grace of God on one of the evenings there. Yeah. And I realized, I think for the first time in my life, that I do not have to earn God's grace. I do not have to earn God's love. I don't have to be good for Him to love me. That it's not who I am, and even less what I do and what I can do. He loves me, well, because He loves me. Because He is love. And that was the moment when I really started my journey out of this depression, with a solid foundation on knowing that God loves me now, just as I am now, not how I'm going to be, not after I have changed, but now. And my life changed. One of the things I learned in this time was that I need silence. I work as a geriatric nurse, and so I am constantly in contact with people when I work. I have to have a basis of stability, because I have to give some of these people stability. There are a lot of very, very, very stressful situations in this kind of work, as in many other kinds of works, of course. There is no job that you can do where there's no stress. But some of what I experience there is not so much physically but more emotionally hard and difficult. And I learned to accept that I need times of quiet, times of silence, times where I can let all this talk and all these emotions fall off, where I can live without people having expectations of me, where I can just be silent and just be alone with Jesus. Since then I have taken some time every January. In the beginning it was just a weekend, now it is a whole week. I go to this place in northern Germany at the coast, and I spend time in silence. It is a place that I have got to know rather well now. I feel absolutely at home there. And I have as much silence as I want. I can go outside. In January there aren't many tourists there, and I can just walk along the coast, enjoy the weather. Sometimes it's rainy, sometimes we have snow, sometimes there's a lot of wind, but it's wonderful just to be outside and alone. And I also have time inside where I take time just to be silent, to read my Bible, to pray, and just to be there with God without expecting much, without expecting anything, just being open to what He wants to give me. I also try to have times like these at home. Not just once a year for a week, but I try to integrate silent times into my daily life. And now I work in 3 different shifts, so I have a rather irregular day. And I've experimented with a lot of things. I have experimented with praying the hours. There are longer and shorter versions of this, Catholic or Protestant. But these were all rather long and had a lot of prayers and songs and Bible texts. And it always was rather hard to keep up with it. Since my depression, I am practicing progressive muscle relaxation, a technique that not only lends itself if you want to cope with stress, but it also encourages taking care of your body, because for the first time, at least for me it was this way, for the first time I really experienced my bodily sensations. It is a method of entering what is now and being able to react in a positive way to things that happen to me. An influence that added itself to progressive muscle relaxation was that I spent some of my youth in Burma. Now it's called Myanmar again. Myanmar is a Theravada Buddhist country, and in preparation and following the visit that I made to Myanmar in the year 2005, I read a lot about Theravada Buddhism. And I found quite fascinating the technique of the method of Vipassana meditation. That is a meditation that where you observe very, very intensely what is happening to you now. It starts with observation of breath, but can also include observation of feelings and thoughts, other bodily sensations, and of course your surroundings. I found this rather intriguing because that is something that I wanted to do, to be able to see what is there, not what I want to see, but what really is there, and then to be able to actively respond to this. Now, of course, if you do Buddhist Vipassana, ultimately the goal is to realize that there is no soul and no being and no nothing, that everything is anatta. This wasn't what I wanted to do, and this wasn't what I was expecting to experience. And this isn't something that I experience in my meditation. But a letting go, a not clinging to what is and what is happening and what I'm thinking and feeling, that is something that I have learned over time. Not that I actively have to let go of things, but if I stop attaching myself to things that are not worth attaching to, I experience a genuine freedom. A saying is that I like very much is that real riches are the things that you do not need. And I find more and more that there are so many things that I do not need, that I don't need to take hold of, that I don't need to cling to. And this freedom is really something wonderful. Vorbild for me in this is Jesus, who did not hold on to what was his, but gave it up for us, who humbled himself and who died, letting go even of his life. This is where mindfulness now enters the picture. For some time now I am practicing different kinds of formalized mindfulness. Being in the present moment, being aware of what is, not judging it, but accepting it as reality. I am taking a course which is similar to the program called mindfulness-based stress reduction, only it is much shorter, because I want to teach this in a very different setting than mindfulness-based stress reduction. MBSR is practiced in a clinical setting, and I want to teach this to my colleagues in my at work, in the retirement home I work. And so I'm practicing a mindful scan of my bodily feelings. I practice mindful sitting and breathing. I practice mindful body movements, and right now I'm practicing mindful walking. And I find this to be a very good influence on my life. I have become less stressed. I notice my stress much earlier, and I'm able to decide what to do with it. I am much more at home in my body. I am able to think much more clearly now. I'm not so easily distracted. And I've attached, as I already said, these moments of mindfulness to my daily prayer times, where I quiet down and I open myself to what is in me, and to that which God wants to give in this time and place. Although I need a lot of silence and quiet, I also need a rather structured approach, because I'm rather chaotic, and if I don't give my prayer time and my day a structure, I'm absolutely lost. So these 3 times of prayer that I have practiced now for nearly 2 years give me a good structure, a good ritualized structure for my day. Well, that's all for this time. It is a symbol for me of how far I have changed already, that I'm able to talk about this. Okay, it's easier just to talk to a camera than to talk to people. But on the other hand, I know that a lot of people will be watching this, and I'm looking forward to your comments. I'm looking forward to the interaction that will follow. Yeah, that's it for this time. I wish you all a happy Halloween. My daughter is out this evening, my youngest daughter. She has disguised herself as Death and will be only talking in capital letters this evening. Not only am I a Terry Pratchett fan, she also is, and we both love the figure of death in Terry Pratchett's Discworld novels. So, have a nice evening, have a nice day tomorrow, and I will be talking to you about symbols a little bit more some other time.